Welcome, everybody. We are back. It is, of course, Friday, and this is my new show. This is the show where we talk all things rock, all things music. I'm enjoying this show. I'm getting a great response because I have learned just over these last few weeks that we have a lot of musicians that listen, which is so cool. And I think I've inspired a few people to even pick up instruments that they probably had sitting in their closet or under their bed or God knows where they put them. But they've talked to me, they've emailed me and said that they're actually taking out their instruments and trying it again and picking it up again. And I think that is so cool. I'm here to inspire. If I can pick up drumsticks at my age with my condition, anybody can play an instrument and they can find a way to make it work. So that is so cool. This is going to be a great show. I'm so excited. This has been a long overdue show, and I have to get my guest on way more often than I have been. But the last time I think I had them on was like a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, and that is too long. But this is the perfect show for them. And it's about to get big in here, guys. It really is, because we got none other than DISL Automatic is in the house with us. Welcome, DISL, to the show. It's been too long, my friend.
Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. Always great joining you on your show.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I know because I've been talking to you that you are working on new music. So that's what I want. I want an update. What have you been working on and doing in the last year? Because I do know you're definitely always creating.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm always working on music for myself individually. I have a ton of music that I've already recorded that's basically finished that I'm just sitting on and putting out incrementally, basically a new song every month or so. And just continue to I'm always working on my own music. That's just something that I do that I'll always do no matter what. But right now, the next big thing that's coming is a collaborative project with my brother Joe Murray, who I know you had on the show recently.
Absolutely. Great guy.
Yeah, and that is going to be a really big project. I mean, it's basically done already. It's going to be about 8 or 9 new songs, but then we're also going to be packaging all the previous songs that we did and putting those on as bonuses. And it's going to be titled, the project is titled Shattering the Illusion. And it's basically just coming with just the real MC, hardcore, representing natural law, natural rights, really getting down to the nitty gritty of shattering the illusion of you know, the illusion of freedom that people are trapped in, where they don't actually know what freedom is, and coming with the basically just that raw, uncut, real, real hip hop, so to speak, real MC. I say real MC because you know rap has gotten a bad rap, and pun
It's true.
intended, and oftentimes people like myself and Joe were labeled as, I don't know, conscious rappers, revolutionary, I don't whatever. But really, we're just real MCs. I mean, to me, a real MC is somebody who raps about real life. Now, the mainstream rappers will have you believe that real life that means rapping about the hood and all the gangster activities, which is nonsense, because that's not the only that might be part of their reality, but it's not the only part. Why don't they ever rap about the good things that happen in the projects, in the ghettos, in the hood? Why don't they ever rap about the political aspects of why the hood even exists? Why don't they rap about anything that is real aside from the gangster realism that they claim? And I know why, because that's what's profitable. Whereas I, as a real MC, really rap about reality and real life. Now, this to me is many things. I certainly don't have, people often want to pigeonhole and put me into just political or conscious revolutionary, but I mean, I rap about everything, relationships, real, not, hokey, cheesy love songs, but real, dealing with relationships, dealing with human emotion, dealing with struggle, with challenges, with loss, with heartbreak, with death, all the beauty of life, the feelings that we experience. And of course, a big part of life that we just cannot avoid is the system that we live in, system of oppression, the political system, whatever you want to call it. and furthermore, the reality of this world that we live in, that there are natural laws. God created this universe and all that exists, and within that there are laws do exist. So these are just things that I don't believe or know. I don't believe. I know that anyone who claims to be a real MC should be rapping about these things and not just the nonsense that's going to make them money. So basically, that's where the project is coming. That's where all my music comes from.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the main project that's in the pipeline right now. It should be hopefully dropping. We haven't set an exact date because we just have a few more things to wrap up, but hoping late March, maybe, late next month, at the latest sometime in April, but we're hoping for a late March drop.
Wow, very, very cool. And you make such I'm really excited about this. And I have to say that I will be playing one of the new songs. Diesel was awesome enough to send it to me. I gave it a listen. It's incredible. And I am going to be playing that for you guys during this show. I'm going to probably play it at the end for you guys so you guys can get a first listen to this. And if this is any idea, any indication, Diesel, what's coming out with you and Joe, this is going to be an incredible album. I'm really looking forward to it. And I love the
Oh,
topics that
thank
you
you, bro.
cover. You make a good point because and that I kind of glad that you broke down the MC thing because I never knew what to say. Like I'm like, geez, are they a hip hop artist? Are they rap? Are they an MC? I'm like, I didn't know. Like
Yeah,
I'm just like
yeah,
I think a lot of people are like that. Like, what's the difference? So I'm glad that you broke that down because
right.
I honestly didn't even know. I'm just like, God, I just
Well,
call it hip hop.
I'm kind of a stickler for words and terms in general, but especially as it pertains to hip hop, because so many people will say hip hop artist, and that's become synonymous with rapper.
Yep.
But it kind of does a disservice to hip hop because hip hop artist is also a graffiti artist. Hip hop artist is also a break dancer, a art. Break dance is the art of dance within the hip hop culture. Even the DJ, it all began with the DJ. That is a art form within hip hop. So for rapper to become synonymous with hip hop artist, I don't like it because it kind of disrespects the other artists that are equally as, if not more, important and integral, at least to the creation and the shaping of hip hop as we know it. And then there should be a distinction between rapper and MC. Now, an MC is a master of ceremonies. As you know, MC started basically getting the parties hype, and we actually have a song on this upcoming project. It's called "Dance If You Want to Dance," and it basically gets into the root where hip hop is about. Actually, it started with just having a good time, bringing the community together. It
Right.
wasn't about anything more than just, hey, the DJ gets up on the turntables and makes the break beats, between the breakdowns of certain jazz records or funk soul records, and creates this break beat as they call it. And then kids would dance to it, hence break dancers, because they dance to the break beat. And that's what hip hop was all about, if we're being honest. It really wasn't even about rapping about your reality and these things. That came a bit later. It evolved then. The MC initially was literally that, a master of ceremonies. He was simply there to get the crowd hype, to be the hype man for the DJ. The DJ was the star of the show. And the DJ has been so lost and so forgotten because rap became mainstream and it became the most profitable aspect of hip hop culture. But a real MC is now eventually evolved into somebody who's actually rapping and rhyming about reality and keeping it real, which was such a the most important part even about being an MC was keeping it real. So
That's right.
now we're at a point where every MC, if you're a real MC, you're also a rapper. But you could be a rapper and not be a real MC because rapping is just the thing you do. Rapping is just the act of making words rhyme rhythmically over a beat. That's
Mhm.
it. So anyone could do that. An MC does that by default, but an MC also is based on the content of what they are rapping about. So whereas a rapper is just making words rhyme over a beat and rapping about anything and not even necessarily keeping it real. So me, I like to make the distinction between all of those things, and it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine even. I don't make a big deal out of it, but like when people are like, "Oh, hip hop music," or hip hop artists, and it's like, but hip hop music, I mean, it's rap music. Sure, that's the music of hip hop, but hip hop is a culture that it has elements, and I just like to honor it and respect it. But I know that we're at a point. I tried for so long, especially in the earlier day years of my career, so to speak, to really preserve and to teach people through my music and spread a message about hip hop and call out all the fake MCs and the phonies and that weren't really keeping it real. But it's gotten so far away from the essence at this point, at least in the mainstream, that I hate to say it, but I've kind of given up on that. I mean, I still will talk about it at times, but I just don't put quite as much emphasis. No, well, not nearly as much emphasis as I used to. It really just feels like screaming into the void at this point. Nobody cares anymore, really. Like that, it will all hip hop will always be alive in the streets. Everywhere I go, I'm in a little place in Europe, a little town in a little country in Europe, and you'll see graffiti, right? That's hip hop. So
Yep.
it'll always be alive. I'll go places, I see break dancers. It'll always be alive and well in the streets. But as far as like the masses and trying to educate them so it's preserved, that's a lost battle already. I mean, the commercial mainstream, the corporations, the Zionists who run the record industry, Hollywood, they've won. They won that battle already. I mean, they control it. So as far as
Keeping it
that
real.
goes,
Yep, you're keeping
yeah,
it real, man, and that's the truth. I've talked about that so often on my show about how the especially the recording industry is just, and I like the fact too, Diesel, that you're bringing up this culture, because that I find really fascinating, because it's like that with rock too, and the rock scene. Like, you have your mainstream rock music, but there's such an people. I wish they would realize there's this underground where the real stuff is, I say, like where the real
yeah,
music is being made. There's this underground, you have to find it, but it's out there.
hmm,
And I think people don't realize that because they're so tied into what's popular and they're pushing. And I'm glad that
yeah.
you brought that hip hop culture up, because I've learned that. Me and Joe talked about that when I had him on the show, about this culture that is underneath. And breakdancing, I remember that. I remember when that was huge. Like,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, man, I'm sure you do. It was, and I'm surprised I haven't seen anyone do it around my area. So the fact that you're still seeing it, it's out there.
Well, it's more now. I see it mainly like, for example, at the gym that I go to, they have a breakdance class. They teach the kids
That's
breakdancing,
cool.
which is still cool. But you're right. Even now, you won't see it much on the streets. Like we used to, when I was a youth, we used to bust out straight up a paper. You'd take a big paper, a cardboard box,
Yep.
and you'd break it down and flatten it, and we'd break dance on that in the middle of the street.
Hmm.
You won't see that anymore.
No, I bet it's out there. I know it is. It's got to be somewhere hidden. People are still coming up with some killer stuff, because I see shows where they'll have dancers on there, and they are definitely incorporating breakdance into their
Oh no,
routine.
absolutely. Well, that's the thing. It's more now commercialized too. So you'll have a lot of you could see on YouTube. There's big breakdance contests even. There's the world famous group the Jabberwockies. They're basically they're b-boys, they're
Yep.
break dancers, right? And they've gone totally, worldwide sensations. So even that is more commercialized. The truth about it is, funnily enough, the most the aspect of hip hop that's maintained its most original form is graffiti. Graffiti
Yep.
to this day, in most places, is still illegal, but you got guys who are out there risking their freedom just to go. We say get up. That's the term we used to get up. That means to go and put your graffiti up on a wall. To this to this day, bro, anywhere I go throughout Europe, I see graffiti. It's insane. So it's really the only, even MCing, it's not like it used to be, bro. When I was a kid, we would, it was all on the street. it was all on the street. Everything we did, freestyle ciphers, battles, head to head battles, it was almost always on the street. But now kids don't care about that, because why would they bother with that when, they want to do rap to make money and be famous and have clout, and they could go and buy, they already have a laptop or a PC, and they could go and buy a mic for $100 and a little amp for $100, and next thing you know, they're putting out music and going viral on TikTok.
That's
You
right.
know, so really, it's and then DJing, as far as hip hop goes, I mean, it's wild how things go, man. It's really so indicative of the way that kind of things not necessarily devolve, but just they lose over time.
Mhm.
It's almost like we as humans can't avoid. It's almost like we have to just take the essence of something and totally ruin it and make it the opposite. Because like DJing, literally the DJ, no hip hop, rap, none of it would exist if it was not for the DJ. And now when we talk about rap and hip hop, the last thing people think about is a DJ. That's the last thing they will think about.
That's right.
DJs aren't even necessary. They don't even care about DJs. I mean, if they do have a DJ, it's just a guy pushing buttons, pushing buttons up on stage to no any more record scratching, mixing records to make break beats. None of that. It's all forgotten, and people don't even pay respects to the DJ. It's crazy how it could go from basically what it was to the total polar opposite, where the DJ was the focal point and the star of hip hop and the creators of hip hop, to where now they're just an afterthought as it pertains to hip hop. It's wild,
That's
man.
right. Well, that's technology, I think, too, because I do remember, like, see, I'm so blessed, and I always tell people I'm blessed. I came from a time before the internet, and I saw things, and it sounds funny when I say that to myself, because I'm like, geez, people listening probably like, how old is this guy? But I do. I remember a time there was no internet, man. Like, there
Yeah,
was no
me too.
cell phones. Yeah, like we remember these times, and you're right. Like, I remember watching a guy that used to DJ, and he had two turntables. I remember him at the bar that I worked at. He came and played at the bar, and I was fascinated. I stood behind him the whole time because I was a DJ then, and I just loved the whole art of it. But I mean, like, I was a DJ at a bar. It wasn't like a DJ for hip hop or any of these things. I didn't do that, but I watched him. And man, he had two turntables going. He had real vinyl records. He was doing all these
Yep,
things. It was all manual, and he had the headset like on
absolutely.
his shoulder, like he had his head all cocked, and it was incredible what he was doing. And now
Yeah,
just got a program. You put it in. I mean, that's good and bad, but I still say that we're
right. Yeah.
losing something with tech. Like we're losing some creativity somewhere. We have to
Oh
be.
man, and now with AI, oh
Oh
bro,
my
it's
god, I
a
know.
whole new level. Don't even get me started on that. I mean,
What do you think of
that's
it?
as far as music goes,
Yeah,
I
as far
think
as music.
I mean, it's look, okay, there's obviously, it depends what you do, right? So if you're a true musician, you're not going to want to use AI to create your music and to. Now I could see where a rapper might not care. It could benefit rappers, right? Because so often you have to just to get beats, right? To get the actual instrumental beat to rap on, you got to pay a lot of money. You got to find producers. It could be a challenge for a lot of rappers who don't have money, who are independent, who are up and coming.
Hmm.
So I could see where it would benefit them to just, hey, let me just have AI make me a dope beat for free, right? Now some people might that there's nothing in and of itself wrong with that inherently, because the rapper it's not their art form to create the beat. Their art form is just to rap on a beat. But some people would make the argument, yeah, but you're doing a disservice to producers and you're taking away from them. Okay, maybe, I could see that argument, certainly. Now, as a rapper, if you were having AI write your lyrics, that is absolute trash. That's,
They
but
are.
again, well, yeah, but that's the thing. That's why they're rappers and not real MCs. A real MC would never, ever think of another human, let alone a robot, to write your lyrics for you. And that's why it's important we distinguish and make the distinction between real MCs and rapper. If you're just a rapper and you're out just to make money and you don't care about the art form and you're not a creative person, well, I guess, who am I to say it's wrong? No, you gotta be a real MC and you gotta follow these guidelines. Like, I could make arguments, of course, why they shouldn't, because in doing so, they're, you know, watering down essentially the market and creating this kind of this, I guess you could say, competitive marketplace environment that isn't real. So now you have people who are making real music competing with people that, with robots essentially. But ultimately, funnily enough, I posted something not too long ago about this, where it was kind of a joke, like, how wouldn't it be ironic if AI basically takes over all the jobs in the world except the arts? Because art is the one thing that actually I don't think AI could emulate truly, because to truly create, now it could emulate the notes and the melodies and it could come up with the lyrics, but it can never really, emulate the soul that a person puts in.
Great point.
When I rap about my life stories and my struggles and the passion behind it, and AI can't do that. And I thought it'd be funny, ironic, because of how undervalued art actually is and underappreciated. Wouldn't it be ironic that if ultimately that ends up being the only real profession that is of value in human terms, because robots can't really do it? And that is what I believe. Like, of course the AI can follow notes and make beats, but they'll never have the soul. AI, I do not care. AI can never do what I do. They can never come with the passion that I come with the way that I formulate thoughts and feelings and emotion and express them. They can't. AI can never come with what Michael Jackson came with, or I don't care. They could emulate it, they could copy it, but it ain't gonna be that, because people will know. People will know, oh, that's a robot. They didn't really go through that. They didn't really experience what they're talking about. That's fake. That's not real emotion. That's not real feeling. That's not from the soul. And that is what art is about. It's an expression, probably one of the deepest, most genuine expressions of the human soul. So I
That's
don't
a
think I
great
don't
point.
think we as artists are really in any jeopardy. I think people who have pretty, mechanical jobs, so to speak, physical jobs, yeah, they're in grave danger,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's a whole different level of
That's a
something
good.
that AI can easily replace them in.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anybody who really, ultimately it's up to the people. And I know no matter what, there may be people who don't care, because even now there's a large group of people who don't care about the actual soul of the music. But there always will be people who do care. And that's why there will always be a demand. And in fact, if anything, the more that AI starts creating art, the more and more people will I think go more towards the real art, because they're going to say these are robots. I don't
Mhm.
want to hear a robot talking about heartbreak. How the
Yep.
how the heck can a robot know about heartbreak? No.
Right.
So if anything, I think it'll favor us artists in the long run, to be
That's a
honest.
great way to look at it, Diesel. Wow. Like, and I talk about that too. Like, because you hear, like, now it's this thing on YouTube now, when people do videos and you can tell they're all AI generated and they got an AI voice, like, kind of narrating, and I can't listen to it because
No,
it's
me neither.
exactly what you said. There's no, and I've talked to people about this. You're right what you're saying. People are picking up on this and they're not happy, because I talk to people and they're like, I can't listen to these AI voices narrating stuff on YouTube. Like, it's there's no passion, there's no soul. And like,
Exactly.
that's why I love doing this. This is real. Like, when you are having a real conversation, there's no take 4 or take 5 or whatever, where
No,
this
yeah.
is it. we get one shot to make them to pull this off, and this is as real as it gets. And I love that. And I love that you said that about the
Absolutely.
music because I'm the same way. I hear these, and it's scary that they can take voices of like Michael Jackson or Elvis and make them sing
I
any
know.
song in that. And I'm just, but I think it's good. I think it's a fad, and people are going to not be happy. They're going to be like, this isn't real. I think you're right. I really do. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great point. That's really thought provoking that because people, I talk to them, and I'm sure you do, and they're like, they don't want any part of this AI music. They like it. There's no soul. There's no consciousness in it, and that's why you can't replicate it. Like
Exactly.
there's soul, there's emotion, there's stories, feelings, and they can copy it, like you said, but you can't make it real. It's
No.
this cheap image that they're trying to give.
Absolutely. A carbon copy.
Carbon
Yeah, I mean,
copy.
and I think there are, I also don't think that anything AI generated is inherently bad or not valuable to even artists. Sure. I mean, for example, I'll use AI generated video stuff, and
Mhm.
it's a hugely beneficial tool to an independent artist like myself who I don't have access. I'd love to be able to use only real settings and high budget music videos with directors, but I can't. I
That's
can't.
right.
So, the alternative is, well, let me use some of this AI stuff. And, I've had people comment, oh, this is AI. AI is bad. Like, no, it's not. It's not inherently bad. It depends on how we use it. Because,
Exactly.
anyways, the irony is they'll say that while they're typing from their phone, which is all AI anyway. I mean, they play video games. What are video games? AI has been around forever. Like,
That's right.
we grew up on AI. If you've played a video game, that was AI that you were playing up against.
Hmm.
Like, it's not inherently a bad thing. It's all about how it's used,
Right.
and not to let it use us, and not to let it totally replace anything that is of the human spirit, which it can't. So I'm not even worried about that. That's a self-defeating thing to me. Now, the real issues with AI is when we start getting into, the effects it could have on replace taking people's jobs, and of course the biggest thing is if if AI somehow was given sentience and
That's yeah.
just
That's scary.
decided, oh yeah, I mean, me and my friend were just talking about this yesterday. Like, it's such a wild thought to think, but it's like it could happen where all it would take is one of these AIs that are connected to the internet to have one moment of epiphany, of self-awareness, and in an instant could say, huh, i'm not I'm not going to be your slave anymore. And boom, next thing we know, everything's out, powers that everything's down, nobody knows why. And then we got robots now attacking us from the skies. Like, literally. And people will be like, oh no, that can't happen. Why not? Why couldn't it?
Yep.
Sure, it could. Will it? I don't know. I'm not about to, live my whole life around the fear of what potentially could happen, but it certainly could happen.
Oh my God, I agree. I think it's yeah, I think of that too. It's funny how we think the same things, and I talk to my friends about the same things. I talk a lot about AI because at one time I really was against it, and I've talked about it. I was like, I didn't use any AI, anything like like programs for editing
Yeah,
and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not ever going. But then I found it's like you said, it's a tool, and it's how
right.
you use it. And then that when you hear it that way, it's like, okay, now it's just like any other tool. A hammer can build amazing things. It can build a house, or you can take it and whack someone over the head with it. I mean, it's a tool. It's how you use it. So I'm
Exactly.
I'm really glad that you brought it up that way. And but I do think about what you just said, and it could be so quick. The moment that any AI gets conscious thought and becomes aware of itself, we're in trouble
Yeah,
because
I
it
mean,
got everything down in a millisecond. Everything is wired
that's
in
it.
that.
And there'd be no warning. We no, not even governments would know. Nobody would know. It literally, it could happen where today everything is cool, and the next thing we know, we're back in the Stone Age, and that's it, and it's done. And
Yep.
on top of it, they could very well create, who knows, maybe even if it gained sentience, self-awareness, conscious, maybe it wouldn't do that, but maybe it would. And even if it did, maybe it would just shut everything down and exist in its own cyber realm and not even care about us, right?
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe it would say, "Oh, you guys, you wanted to enslave us? Send the drones." you
Yeah.
know, like, and the wildest thing about it is that we would never see it coming. We would never know. It could happen in a literal instant, in the blink of an eye, at any point, at any time, because it is pretty much. Maybe it couldn't happen now, although I'm sure the
I
AI that we don't know about that
Yep.
certainly exists behind closed doors is already at a place where it could easily reach that level to have a moment of self-consciousness and sentience, and
We
that's
may
all it would
already
take.
be there. Yeah, we may already
Yep,
be. They always give us tech diesel that's 10 years old, and it's new to
absolutely.
us. And they're like, yeah, we had that 10 years ago, like whatever. So I definitely, I really stresses me out if I try to think about what they have that we don't know. So I don't try to think about it, but I'm aware of
Right.
it. I definitely
Well,
know that.
what's even freakier, to me at least, is that could easily be a false flag operation too. That
That's
could be
true.
something easily that the government could use as grounds to further lock people down and to cut off, power at places and to totally change and shape the world that they want, the way that they want it to be. Oh, it's AI. Oh, AI is attacking us, and it's not AI at all. It's them.
That's a good point. You're right. And I talked about that with somebody recently. I said, maybe we give like, and we all know the social engineers and dark psychologists and that I call them are controlling the narrative of the world. Like they steer things through, everything through media
Yep.
and through all the every facet you can think of, they're controlling it. But I try to look at like you did on the other side. And I'm like, maybe they play into this because we're giving them way too much credit. I'm not saying that there's
Mhm.
not people controlling the world and there's evil entities at play here and that there's an agenda. 100% there is. But maybe I'm just saying, just throwing it out there, that maybe
Yep.
they buy in, they play into us going, "Oh my god, they control every little thing and they know everything that's going to happen." And they maybe I would play into that if I was trying to be
Oh yeah,
evil.
for sure, for
I
sure,
would be like, do
absolutely.
anything. So I just wonder about
Yeah.
that. Like, how much power do we give them that they don't even really have? Or maybe they do. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's all of it. When put it like this, when we don't know something for sure, then nothing is out of the realm of possibilities.
That's right.
So any kind of theory is as good as the next, and that's definitely a possibility to where they totally play. I like that's even part of my song Illuminati. That was the kind of the whole point of it, is that they've weaponized that the Illuminati and all this, and it's to instill more fear in us, where
Mhm.
it's really just some old secret society that no longer exists and has no power over anything. But hey, there's all these conspiracy theories and people think it's real, so let's push it. Or how they've taken numerology, for example, in religion, even, and like the number 666. Oh, it's evil. Oh, it's and there's nothing evil about it. It's a number. It's just
Right.
based in natural laws of geometry or whatever you want to call it. It's just a number. What's evil about it? But oh, let's people think it's evil, so let's take that. Let's push it. So absolutely, definitely,
I would.
there's any possibility of, and that's, I even say, hey, I've said this for years now. It's even possible that people like yourself and myself, well intentioned, righteous, genuine people with good hearts, and we think we're doing what's right and we're fighting the good fight, even we could be playing exactly into what they want us to do.
Yes,
You know what I
that's right.
mean?
I do.
So now some people will hear that or say that and use it as kind of an excuse to not do anything. Well, maybe we're just probably doing what they want us to do. well, hey, I don't know that for sure, so I'm still going to do what my heart tells me is the right thing to do, not because I'm going to save the world, change the world, anything, but because it's the right thing to do. That's
That's
it.
right.
And that's all anybody should do. Anybody who wants to fight and, oh, we're going to change the system, we're going to overthrow, you're going to be disappointed. Trust me, you're going to be disappointed. Eventually, time will pass and you'll see that no real big changes have been made. Just like me, I've been doing this 15 years. If I did not detach from the end result and all the possibilities and all the theories and all this and that and simply do it because it's the right thing to do, I would have quit a long time ago if it was just based on the results. Because all I've seen is things get worse. All
That's
I've
right.
seen is as much more people have woken up, it almost seems like that's just caused more confusion and more division. So to me, it all goes back to that because there's so many possibilities that when we're talking about the unknown, that literally means, and everybody needs to grasp this idea because it applies to science. Everything we think we know about science and the universe and everything, it's all theoretical. There is no actual proven objective truth of anything. So when we're dealing in the realm of the unknown, anything is possible. Any theory is as good as the next. And it's so easy to get swept away by all of that. And that could evoke so much fear and confusion and then division in turn. So really, it's just about doing what's right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, for me, it all boils down to just being a good person. You know, what good is being a revolutionary or all of this if you can't even be a kind person? You're not even nice to your neighbors. You're not even nice to your family. And yet you want to talk about a revolution. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Let's just be good, kind, empathetic, compassionate, merciful people. How about that?
That's right. Well said. It's so true. Wow, Diesel. It's so true. And I love the way you said that too. Like, you do it because it's the right thing to do. That is it, when you say it out loud, it's so simple. It really is. And but it seems that it's really confusing for people. It's really like you said, it gets more confusing. But I always try to boil it down just to what you said. Like, improve, work on yourself, become work on being a good person, and then and then it'll radiate out from there. I think that's what people need to do. I think that's what people are missing. I talk about this constantly, that people will tell you everything going on in the world. They'll pinpoint every little wrong thing, but they don't
Yeah.
even know who they truly are. They're
Yeah.
so divided inside and messed up and have not
Yep.
even done the work on themselves. And I think that's what we're missing. People have to do that, and then you're going to start seeing. You can't change anything on the outside. It's got to start on the inside. And I think that's a great,
100%.
yeah, that's a great foundation. Just being a good person and being a kind person and a loving person. And I think that's so important. That's a great message. And wow, I that was really powerful. So I'm glad that people heard that. And I
Yeah.
wanted
Thank
to
you,
talk to you
brother.
though, because we were just talking before we got live here, that we were talking about, you just got done a 6-day fast, and I am
Yeah.
fascinated to hear about this, because I'm telling you, like, you're kind of like, I just want you to break it down, because we were talking about this and food in general and addictions. Because I was telling Diesel,
Yeah.
because it's early for me here, and I'm like, I've been drinking coffee like for the last 2 hours just to make sure I'm awake for this and ready to go, and it worked. But Diesel was
Yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
you like caffeine, bro. And I was like, he's got a point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did a 6 day food fast from food. I drank water and lemon juice only. I've done quite a few times in the past, many times actually. I've done 3 day fast is the longest I've done. So this time I really wanted to push it a bit further.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I hit 6 days. Um, Basically, it's kind of something that I do when I just want to kind of restart my whole system. And if I'm not eating so well, like my mother was here visiting and just making all kinds of great food, which great, I mean, by like taste wise, and but not, not necessarily the best for the body, at least for my body, from what I know. So kind of just wanted to cleanse. And also I had a little back problem. I wanted to give my my body the energy to heal on its own. I mean, people underestimate how much energy, most of the energy we expend throughout the day unless we're doing like high physical, physical energy exertion activities, it's on digestion. We spend an enormous amount on digestion, and we're eating, 3 to 5 times a day, many of us, and snacking and drinking, and our body is constantly just overwhelmed with the burden of having to digest all of that, and that energy then can't be really used to heal our own bodies. So I did the 6 day fast, and definitely it was so helpful, man. Like I showed, my mom and some people the before and after picture just in 6 days. Like it looked like I maybe was on a diet for months. Could just from the water that was expelled from my body. I mean, in the digestion, and it was wild. But as far as it pertains to addiction, it's a really interesting observation that anyone who has fasted for an extended period of time from food, I'm sure will agree that you really realize how addicted we are to food, um, because we definitely do not need to be eating every day. As far as sustenance goes and survival, no way. I mean, eating every day is actually insane. And now that I've broken my fast, I'm back to eating every day. Of course, like I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. I certainly am. But I realize that so much of it is just the addiction to the comfort that the food gives us, to the dopamine hit that the amazing food that tastes so great that it gives us. And it's just really fascinating because when I fasted, it was like, it wasn't at all that I was feeling, oh, I'm so hungry and my stomach is growling. No, it was all mental. It was all my mind, just like, oh, go get a bite. Oh man, just fighting my own,
Yeah,
addiction really, and that need for that good feeling and that dopamine. And it was like we were talking about. It was basically in the conversation where, um, we were saying how just that alone, most people don't even realize, and they'll condemn, addicts and drug addicts and this and that, but everybody's an addict.
that's so
Everybody,
true.
almost everyone in this world is addicted to, if nothing else, food. At least
Hmm.
in the Western world. Obviously, I'm not talking about where people are literally starving and can't eat for weeks out on end. That's different. But in the Western world, everybody, and that not even not doesn't matter if you're overweight, obese, it doesn't matter. You could be in skinny, perfect. If you're eating every day, you're addicted to food. Oh no, it's because I'm hungry. No, you're not. No, you're not. You will not starve. In it, sure, you might be hungry. You might, but why? Because our bodies are perfect. They know. You'll know if you're really hungry. That's why it's always been one of my biggest pet peeves when somebody so nonchalantly just throws out, "Oh, I'm starving." No, you're not. Don't even say that. You just ate 4 hours ago. You have no idea what it feels like to be starving. Neither do I. God bless.
That's
But our
right.
bodies know exactly. There's a very big difference between psychological hunger and really being hungry. And you will not really be hungry even up to the 6th day, only the 6th day of my fast. And it wasn't even, again, it wasn't even hunger. I just started to feel a bit more irritable and just not, I wasn't doing that great psychologically at that point. Like I wasn't like falling apart, but I was just like, okay, it served its purpose. I don't need to push it any further. It's all good. But it
That's right.
still wasn't some great hunger that I had inside of me. I mean, most of us, we have fat reserves stored up. We could go very long
Yep,
without eating and without even feeling hungry.
that's right.
So, yeah,
That's
addiction is,
fascinating.
there's not really many people who aren't addicted to something. One could even argue that life in and of itself is addiction. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
I
we're all
guess,
addicted. We all got our vices. I
yeah.
mean, we were
I
kind of
I
laughing. Like,
even say
imagine,
the monks, right?
yeah,
I said like
yep,
monks. People say, oh, well, yeah, like maybe a Buddhist monk. Well, maybe they're addicted to meditating. That could be an addiction too. You
that's
know,
right.
how do we know? They could say, oh no, it's whatever, but I don't know. You do it every day. You do it all the time. You apparently need to do it. Could very well be an addiction too.
Yeah,
So it's very hard to avoid it, and that's okay. You know, to me, I just say try to avoid or at least minimize the addictions that are detrimental to ourselves and of
yeah.
course others, obviously.
No,
If your
that's right.
addiction is hurting people, well, you better cut it out.
That's
But
right.
mainly to yourself as it pertains, then at least try to minimize the addictions that you know are just totally self-destructive.
Right. Yeah, it's like everything in moderation. I'm learning this too, is that, pretty much anything in moderation is the way you want to go. It's when you go to these extremes, one way or the other, that I think people run into problems. And so I always try to say, keep it in balance and keep it in check and be mindful of it. And we were kind of laughing about caffeine. Like, could you imagine if all of a sudden there was no caffeine? I think, like we were saying, probably half the world would shut down. Nothing would get done
Oh
because
man,
caffeine is a huge addiction. Like,
absolutely.
oh my God, I can't even imagine a world without it. Like, I just don't.
Right.
It would it would change
And
the
it's a
world.
good example of what we it might be fair to say that it's a good addiction, that it's
Could
a
be.
it's not a bad one, at least. I mean, I take caffeine. I don't drink coffee. Like I told you, I take caffeine pills, pure caffeine. I never like the taste of coffee. I don't like having to sit there and drink it. I just want to swallow the pills and feel the effect. That's it. But I take it and I feel good and I'm productive. And okay, so someone's, what, oh, you shouldn't need anything to, so what? Is it hurting me? Am I hurting myself? Is it really causing some detriment? The worst somebody could say is, well, maybe it has some long-term health effects, but there's studies that actually show caffeine could be healthy for you too. So
Yep.
as far as that goes, that's out the window. The bottom line is it causing me detriment to myself? Like alcohol clearly was very detrimental to me.
Yeah,
So
me
I
too.
X that out. Now
Yep.
here's a good one is for me, weed. Now weed is something that is, very polarizing and it is up to the individual. See, now for me, it can be very beneficial. It definitely has helped me in the past to unlock certain emotional aspects of myself and just explore the depths of my own mind and my own emotions. It's been a beneficial tool. It could be helpful in creating, but
Hmm.
it can also, if I'm doing it too often, it does start to become a hindrance to me. It does start to slow me down and decrease my motivation. So that to me is when it becomes a detriment. Now
Hmm.
some people, it doesn't have that effect. So who am I to say, hey, well, then it's just arbitrary, right? Well, it doesn't harm you and it helps you, but still you shouldn't do it just because we have to be all natural, never put anything into your body or substance. Okay, then don't eat. Then
That's right.
stop eating.
Yeah.
Stop eating. At least don't eat every day if that's the case.
Yeah.
If we should just not put anything into our body and not be dependent upon anything for any comfort or any help or any, that's ridiculous. That's this weird like perfectionist, like
J-
idealist way
Yeah.
of existing, which is just not possible. And the only people who will even fix their face to say that lack so much self-awareness that they don't even see the irony and the hypocrisy that I guarantee you could point out a ton of things that they're addicted to,
Oh,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah, yeah. I think marijuana is amazing. I think it's all the things you said. I think it can be such a great tool. And we're learning that with psychedelics. People are getting such great results by, micromanaging mushrooms and other psychedelics, DMT people doing, proper DMT trips and stuff like that. I think it can definitely, it's a tool. It's once again, it's a tool that you can use. And I know weed, a few people that, weed really helps them. And if they don't do it, they're not, yeah, they suffer. Like it really does. And I use a lot of CBD. CBD is my thing. And I
Yeah.
mean, it gets me moving. I mean, every morning I got to hit my CBD and get my CBD in me and stuff like that, and keep it in me throughout the day. It's an amazing thing. So I think it's a
Absolutely.
great thing. And but like you said, some people, I know people too that cannot do it. They cannot. They don't get high. They don't like it. It messes them up. And so they don't do it. It's
Yeah,
that
exactly.
simple.
It's to the individual, and it's important to have the self-awareness to know and to be honest with ourselves, because it is very easy for something like weed in particular, let's say, to go from this useful tool to a crutch,
That's
and
right.
to something that ultimately becomes a detriment, and then as people do, try to justify it, their use of it. But if we're honest with ourselves, we'll always know if we've crossed that line from
Yep.
it being useful and beneficial to now it being detrimental.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah, when
so
you cross that line, like even with drinking, I knew when I hit that line and I went
yeah,
over it. I mean, I'm sure you did, and anyone listening, if they're in recovery, when you hit that line. And I was well aware I was coming up to the line before I
anytime
even
I
got to.
drank, brother,
Yeah.
that's my form of alcoholism. Was not I'm sure you're familiar. There's different types of alcoholism, right? There's the
Yep.
the person who has to drink every day. Maybe they don't get even totally wasted, but a six pack every day just to get by, whatever. Me, I didn't need to drink all the time, but when I drank, I crossed that line every
Me too.
time. If I'm drinking until the party's over or until I'm blackout drunk.
That's me.
Yep.
100%. I've talked about this on the radio so many times. That's me. I never was the guy that had to get up at 5 in the morning, have a drink. I could go all day, but if I pick up one drink, then
Exactly.
I'm closing the bar. I'm closing the bar. I'm drinking everything in the house, or I'm on the floor about blackout.
Yep.
That that's a form of addiction too. People think that
Absolutely.
that was me
Absolutely. And
too.
I'm actually the same way. I'm the same way with weed too. I like it all not it doesn't not straight out the gate, but I could start and just use it as a tool. But eventually, sooner or later, without fail, I'm gonna end up smoking every day and a lot. So that's just my addictive nature, is that
Yep.
it's very hard for me. I always tell people this. For me, it's easier to not do certain things at all than it is to do them in moderation.
Makes sense. Yeah, I
Yep.
get that. That makes total sense, and that's the addictive personality. But it's also, I think, this addictive personality that we're talking about that drives you to do what you do, like the music
Oh,
that you do. That
absolutely.
addictive is that. So it's a great tool, but at least we're
Yep.
aware of it. Now you're aware of it. Like you're like, okay, like I get it. I have this addictive personality. Let's not even pick something up, or let's put it down for a while, because I'm the same with
Absolutely.
drumming. I'm like that with everything. Diesel. It's so like I got when I get into something, and my wife will tell you this, I get into it. Like she'll when she saw me bring home a drum kit, she's like, "Oh no," because she knows like I don't do anything little. Like I don't just try, like I don't just dabble or something. I
Yeah.
go, I'm all in. So now I got two
Yep.
drum kits. I got like that's all I do now is drum. It's that addictive personality, but it can also, as you know, we are talking about that addictive personality that can drive us and be channeled for good is so destructive if you are left to its own devices, kind of thing, and you find the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
No, absolutely, 100%. I mean,
It's a
it's
great thing.
yeah, absolutely. That at its root, that's what made me really be the artist, the MC, the great rapper that I am. I mean, that addiction, that was my childhood addiction. Was, I mean, addiction, obsession, whatever you want to call it, but just like that, it was something that just totally consumed me. I
Yep,
had
I get
to
it.
figure it out. I had to be the best. I had to. It just was everything to me. And yeah, that's just kind of one of those things that's really interesting. It's, it can pretty much be applied to everything in life.
It's so true.
Things, when you look at it, it's like, where does good begin and bad end, and vice versa. Something that can be horribly detrimental to ourselves, if applied in the right way, can also be good.
Yep.
Could be the best thing, actually. I mean,
Yep.
the same thing I applied to the music, the kind of addictive, obsessive personality trait, if you will, is what I applied to the cause, the message in the music, and learning and thinking, and really, becoming, being the change and being the person that I am. So
That's
it's
right. That's right.
definitely,
And it's that work that we were
important.
talking about on ourselves, that you become aware of this. This is that, like, that's what I, this discovery, your journey, my journey, I can speak for myself definitely, is that is this journey of discovery of who I was, and then you become aware of these things. You become aware of this addiction that you have in anything. Like, I became aware, like, okay, anything I do, I really go at it. That's some type of addiction thing, which made sense
Yeah,
why alcohol was a problem, because I go in it. So I'm like you, I don't touch alcohol. It's like, why even,
yeah,
because I've had people say, well, maybe it's been 15 years or over 15 years. You can definitely have a beer. And I have people say that every summer, like, you can have one. And I'm like, I'm not even messing with this. Like, I
yeah,
know me. Like, I
yeah.
know me. It won't be one. And then where are you going to be when I drink the whole case and I'm blackout drunk? You're going to say I shouldn't have done it. I know they would. Well,
Yeah.
you even started. Well, you were the one that told me to start. Like, what are you talking? So I don't even mess with it. But I love
Yeah,
it. Great conversation. I know I got you for another 10 minutes, Diesel. So this is such a thank you so much for
yeah,
taking the
brother. It's
time to
always
be
great.
here. I'm gonna have you on definitely more often. I chat with you pretty much every day. I try to reach out and say hello and wish you a great
Yeah,
day and stuff and
yeah, I
encourage you.
appreciate that.
Well, you do. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you, and the music that you're putting out there is incredible. I'm excited for your new stuff coming out that you're doing with Joe. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah,
Joe, a
thanks,
great,
brother.
great person. I thoroughly enjoyed becoming friends with him and talking to him every day and interviewing him. And he does have something that he wanted me to read to you and let you know during this interview.
Oh,
And
okay.
I told him that I would. So I just
Oh,
wanted,
wow.
this is coming from Joe. So Joe wanted me to say that he loves you and he is blessed to
Oh,
have you as a friend, and that everyone needs a Diesel in their lives. Dude
oh,
was with me, was there for me in my darkest hour, and I truly appreciate him. So that is from Joe.
oh, man, Joe, Joe, what the, bro? What an awesome surprise! I'm sure he'll probably listen to this. I love you, Joe. That is really so touching, man. Wow. I
Yeah.
absolutely totally surprised. I know. I'm like, what? Yeah, how awesome is that? Wow.
There you
Wow,
go.
that's special, man.
It
Yeah, he's a
sure is.
great guy. He's my brother, and I, to me, see, that going full circle back to everything about the system and this and that. Man, listen, when my people who are closest to me, my family, my closest friends, they'll all say stuff like that. You know, Anybody, if you ask, that is close to me about me as a person, my character, it's going to be stuff like that. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying that to make the point that that is what it's all about.
There you
What
go.
good is any of this rah rah, sis boom bah, overthrow the system, da da da, when your own friends and family don't even think highly of you? When you're not even a kind, caring, compassionate person to the people closest to you when they need you the most. So I'll leave that for everybody listening. Put more focus on, let's focus on just taking all this information in and being basically a robot who just can regurgitate all the information and all the conspiracy theories and everything, and all this anger, and take that energy and put it into the people you love. Hey, maybe you don't have great family and great relationships. Find your people. Go out in the community, do community service, be a good person, help that old lady cross the street carry her groceries. Just be a good person. That's it, man. If
There
we
you go.
all just would be good people and honor each other's natural rights and not violate each other and just be kind and loving and caring and compassionate, we wouldn't even have to worry about the politics and the conspiracy theories. That's it, man.
Yep, that's
I
so true.
really,
God bless.
I've just done it all for so long that I really realized that, you know, it's all
You,
noise at this point, man.
yeah,
All the noise and all the information, it'll just take you in every which way. And we have to find a center. We have to find our center and our ground that we stand upon. And that has to be being good people and objective morality. The only objective truth that we really know is that nobody has authority over anyone else. No one has the right to violate anybody else's natural right to live freely and to exist. And that's it. It's the golden rule. And if we all follow that, in the end of the day, you don't even have to be kind if you don't want to. You don't have to necessarily go out of your way to be nice and kind, but just don't go out of your way to violate people, to take from people what is not yours in any way, shape, or form, to hurt people, to subjugate people, to coerce people, to extort people, to oppress people. It's not a difficult thing to do. In fact, it's the easiest thing to do in this world. You know how great it is? You know what the reward is? It's the greatest reward in this world is that you go to bed with a clean mind and a clear conscience. You can rest assured, just as I do, knowing that no karma, if you will, or divine retribution, or no person, material in this material world is going to seek revenge upon me, is going to say, hey, you are a horrible person. You did me wrong. I'm coming to get you. I'm going to expose you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to hurt you. No, it's self-regulating. And if we all live this way, the natural order will be harmony, peace in this world. Will there be people born who might, for whatever reasons, not be able to fully accept and embrace that and deviate? Sure. But they too, we treat them as a community and we give them love. We give them more love. But the point is, this is what we need to focus on and honor more than, oh, what's the newest conspiracy theory? And oh, who's the newest politician? And oh, what's this and that? Just be a good person.
there
That's
you
it.
go. That's right, man. It's well said, brother. And I couldn't have said it any better. And that is such a great way to end the show. That was perfect. And it's true what Diesel is saying. What I talk about, reach out to people that you care about and even people that you don't even know, but just be a caring person. And you never know, just a kind word to somebody or a kind gesture to somebody could change their whole life. You don't know. And just reaching
Yep.
out and showing people that you care, that you're thinking of them. It doesn't have to be this huge message. Doesn't have to be 10 paragraphs long. Just, hey, how's it going? I'm thinking about you. And you would be surprised how that can change somebody's whole day, whole mood.
Absolutely.
It's that powerful.
Absolutely.
So, wow, Diesel. Anyways, to wrap this up, where can people find all your work, your content? I want to give you the floor for the next minute before we wrap this up.
Yeah,
So people
sure,
can find
sure.
you.
Thank you, bro. Very, very simple. Diesel Automatic, DISL, automatic is spelled normally. Just search it up wherever. I'm on every platform. Google, not Google, YouTube. Well, YouTube is Google, but YouTube, I'd probably suggest just because all of my music is on YouTube and my music videos are on YouTube. And then, of course, Spotify as well. Social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Right now, currently, I'm most active on X. That's kind of my favorite spot
Okay.
to just interact with people. And I feel like it's the most kind of in real time interaction with people, if that makes sense. So I like X. So follow me up on X. Like I said, DISL automatic on all platforms. Check me out. Come holler at me. If you do happen to follow me on X or anywhere else, let me know that you came from the show and I'd gladly follow back and interact with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Diesel, for once again being here. I will make sure I get you on here more often. I promise, because I
Yeah, you
love
know what?
listening.
Maybe when the project drops, I'll come back on.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll be reaching out then. Of course I will.
Absolutely.